Welcome, first of all, to the Tourism Update webinar. I would like to start with welcoming some of the honorable guest speakers. And first of all, His Excellency Pak Mayavas. And secondly, Pak Iman Santosa, Pak Sade, and Pak Iswandi. And of course, I would like to welcome all participants for this webinar, which is co-hosted by the Indonesian Embassy in The Hague, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Diaspora Network in the Netherlands, and the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economies. A special welcome also to the Mayor of Ambon, Pak Richard Luhanapesi. I hope I pronounced it correctly. My name is Susan van Egmond. Since 2010, I'm appointed by the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economies as the so-called VITO. VITO means Visit Indonesia Tourist Officer. I'm the liaison between the Dutch travel trade media and the Dutch travel operators and the ministry in Jakarta. I closely work together with my colleagues in the embassy, and together we are working very hard to position Indonesia as a tourism destination of choice in the Netherlands. We have put together this interesting webinar for you. I hope at least it's interesting for all of you, and to give you an update about the situation at this moment in Indonesia, and also what the plans are for the future, because we hope the future will bring better times than we have now. We will have several speakers today. If you have questions, I would like to ask you to put them in the chat box. We will try to answer all these questions as good as we can, but we know from experience by now, but sometimes we don't have enough time to answer all the questions, and then I will personally answer you by email and see if I can help you with your questions. So have a great webinar. We would like to start with a song called Wonderful Indonesia by Roy Tuhumuri. Have a good webinar. Thank you.
Friendly, smiling people, wide beaches.
Well, I think all Dutch participants will agree that this video makes us long even more for Indonesia. If you see the wonderful colors, and we are suffering from very cold weather and rain at the moment, so I am really homesick for Indonesia. I would like to introduce the first speaker to you. I feel very honored to introduce His Excellency Pak Mayovas, the new Indonesian ambassador, to all of you. Mr. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Terima kasih, Ibu Susan. Okay. Yeah. First of all, allow me to introduce myself as a new ambassador of Indonesia in Netherlands. I've been here just for 3 months. When I come here, is lockdown already, so I've never been experienced even to go to the restaurant to have a coffee with friends. So it's really a special moment for us. Good afternoon, Bapak Ibu, friends in Netherlands. Selamat malam. Good evening, Bapak Ibu di Indonesia. We have been with this pandemic for almost 1 year. I think it's 1 year already. This pandemic, as we all know, is affect so much in our life, especially the limits of our movement. We cannot go everywhere, almost everywhere. Almost all countries right now have closed their border because of pandemic. We only hope in the near future there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that our life can normal again, we can travel again, we can meet friends again, we can see another country again. In this regard, I don't want to speak what the impact of pandemic to tourism sector, as we all know that it really affects our tourist sector a lot. Everything in the tourist sector, everything related to tourist sector, it's affect so much. We realize right now what has happening in this tourist sector for the last 1 year, I think, so almost 1 year, yeah. But tourist sector play important and significant role in our economy, be it in employment, and most of that is in people life. Millions of people in Indonesia depend their life on this sector. So, for instance, in Bali, as we know that most people depend on the tourist sector on their life, and because of this pandemic, Bali is affected very much. I think it's one of worst province in Indonesia which affected by this pandemic for their life, I think. Also for employment, and there are many things that relate to tourist sector. I think this why the government of Indonesia try to find, and right now is find ways how to keep this sector alive, I think, and also adjust to this situation. Several policies and measures have been implemented in this regard. In this moment also, I would like to underline the need for us to strengthen our cooperation. As a new ambassador here, I know that the cooperation between our two countries at the level of government and also the tourist sector have been growing, and hopefully is grow more after this COVID. In this regard, I also would like to have your support and cooperation so I can fulfill my task in this regard, especially to strengthen the cooperation between our two countries in this sector, and more specifically to make a more Dutch visit Indonesia in the near future, especially when the COVID, this pandemic has been end. Hopefully in the near future. That's the reason, some reason I think that this webinar is very important and timely, also timely. And in this regard, I would like to express my appreciation and thanks to Ibu Susan, to Pak Iswandi from Ministry of Tourism and Economic Creative, also Pak Iman from Pak Iman from the Ministry of Tourism and Economic Creative, Pak Sadi from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also Pak Iswandi from President Director of Inatur, and we are also having with us this afternoon with the Agent Manager of Ambon, Bapak Richard Lohanap Pesi. Selamat sore, Pak. Glad that you can join with us this afternoon, and I hope this webinar will have a chance for opportunity for us to exchange views and to find ways how to strengthen the cooperation between our two countries in the tourism sector. Thank you once again. Terima kasih, Ibu Susan.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your kind words. I can only imagine it must be really difficult to start your new job in a new country in the time of a pandemic, but I can assure you that the Netherlands is really a very nice country. Normally we have good restaurants and coffee shops, and you will be able, I hope, one day soon to enjoy this. But thank you very much. Before we go to the next speaker, we would like to play a song called Ambon Mangente by Roy Tuhumuri as well. Thank you.
Gunung yang tanjung
Well, this was a beautiful song and beautiful images as well. So I would like to go on to the next speaker. I would like to introduce my colleague from the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economies, Pak Iman Santosa. Pak Iman is the Director of Marketing for Europe 3, which also includes the Netherlands. Pak Iman started this challenge in the middle of the pandemic, so he has the big task ahead of him to start preparing for the opening of tourism in Indonesia, when the time allows us all. Pak Iman will be joined by Pak Majid, the Deputy Director of Immigration and International Cooperations. So I would like to give the floor to you, Pak Iman. Good luck.
Thank you, Ibu Susan. I have already, my colleague already given my presentation to you, Bu Susan. Have you received my presentation already?
From the technical department, can you put the presentation, please?
Yes. Thank you. The Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Kingdom of Netherlands, His Excellency Pak Mayarvas, Director European Affairs, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Ida Bagus Made Bimantara, Pak Sade, President Director PT Hotel Indonesia Natur, Bapak Iswandi Said, Minister Counselor of the Information and Socio-Cultural Affairs, the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in The Hague, Bapak Ferry Swandi, Bapak Denny Kartawijaya, dan Ibu Susan, and also distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Good evening from Indonesia and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen in the Kingdom of Netherlands. I would like to thank everyone for your participation in this webinar in the middle of your tight schedule. Let's stay safe and healthy during this situation, COVID-19 pandemic, by always implementing the health protocol. As we are all aware that the main purpose of our event today is an insight and to share updated information regarding the current situation in Indonesia, as well as to reconnect the market, especially with the help of Indonesian diaspora in the Netherlands. This is an important occasion for us to share our values in recovering the visit to our country after this situation to be recovered soon. As you all also aware, in tourism, it is the experience you are feeling safe and comfort during the visit. Outline for this presentation would be divided into 6 subtopics. Hello Diaspora, what we have done, meet our new minister, embracing our minister's policy, new normal era and benchmark. Hello Diaspora, more than 8 million of Indonesian people are living abroad, and the Netherlands is one of the largest Indonesian diaspora with 1 million diaspora. This is incredible since Indonesia and the Netherlands has a long history yet close diplomatic relations. The fact that more than 1 million of Indonesian people living in the Netherlands should have a good impact for our beloved country. Diaspora could be our ambassador in promoting Indonesia tourism to other countries because diaspora represent the face of Indonesia. Today we gather here with a similar vision to introduce and promote our beloved country to the world. We would like to show you a little bit what we have done so far with the Netherlands. Next. Yeah, here is the figure that of course, it's just several examples of what we have done. In this industry, Indonesia has done many actions in promoting tourism and creative economy in the Netherlands, such as exhibition, joint promotion, fan trip, and also festival. Indonesia has actively joined the vacancy birds, a major tourism and leisure exhibition which already held for 50 years. Vacancy birds presented 1,106 exhibitors from 124 countries all over the world. Indonesia also has done joint promotion with the third parties such as TUI, Singapore Airlines, the Young Intra Vacancies, 333 Travel, etc. Indonesia did the joint promotion in order to attract travelers from Netherlands to visit Indonesia. Another program is Farm Trip. With the help of Indonesian Embassy in the Netherlands, Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy made an interesting package for travelers from Netherlands to do farm trip to Indonesia. Through this concept of farm trip, we introduced many regions of Indonesia to be visited. Festival also plays important role in promoting our tourism and creative economy. Indonesia has actively presented a Tong-Tong Fair in the Netherlands. Tong-Tong Fair is the biggest platform to promote cultural tourism and creative economy of Indonesia in the Netherlands, which held annually since 1959. Tong-Tong Fair is attended by 80,000 visitors on the average per year. Before we are going too far, let me introduce our new minister and get to know his policy. Next, please. Yeah, since the inauguration on 23rd December 2020, Bapak Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno make a quick move in formulating policies to boost our tourism sector during this pandemic. His main policies are concerning 5 super priority destinations as in main aspect and product mapping. Second, tourism village development. The third, social protection program concerning the effect of COVID-19. Besides his three main policies, our minister also has three fundamental concepts, which are innovation, adaptation, and collaboration. Next. Yeah, the innovation is needed because in a short period of time, there has to be major changes within the industries following current situation as the impact of this global pandemic. Adaptation is also crucial given that Indonesia is embracing the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, the tourism and creative economy industry must adapt the CSSE protocols. Meanwhile, there is also an urge for better collaboration because many people must work together to revive the tourism and creative economy industries. Due to the global pandemic, Ministry of Transportation of the Republic of Indonesia has not opened the international flight. This situation has brought significant impact of tourism and creative economy sectors because 33 million of Indonesia people are working in this industry. Therefore, tourism and creative economy is a huge industry and plays an important role to our national economic stability. Following this fact, as soon as inaugurated as the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Bapak Sandiaga Uno speeds up the development of 5 super priority destinations as instructed also by the President Joko Widodo. It is a serious duty in order to save our people for losing more jobs, as well as to quickly revive our tourism and creative economy sectors. Next. Yeah, probably Susan, can you play? I think the video is the charisma, the first one that you've played before the first video.
Can you please play the video again?
Charisma.
Because I cannot do it from here.
Serunya menikmati wisata
Karisma Indonesia
dengan standar protokol CHSE hanya
di Indonesia aja.
Ya. Ya, next slide. Yeah, in carrying out the duties, Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy introduced a number of destinations as super priority destination. These are Toba Lake in Sumatra, North Sumatra, Borobudur Temple of Central Java, Mandalika in West Nusa Tenggara, Labuan Bajo in East Nusa Tenggara, and Likupang in North Sulawesi. These 5 destinations aim to promote our regions of Indonesia other than Bali, because most of foreign people only know Bali as the most exciting destination in Indonesia. Toba Lake, next Yeah, Toba Lake is located in North Sumatra. Toba Lake is the largest natural lake in Southeast Asia with 1,145 square kilometers and one of the deepest lake of the world with 450 meters. Toba Lake is an integrated destination with various attractions as a combination of natural scenery and local culture. Glamping, visiting local cultural sites as well as doing sport activities such as kayaking and Merah Putih Toba bike are the activities tourists could do in Toba Lake. King William, Alexander, Queen Maxima, Zoregita Ceruti of the Kingdom of Nederland has witnessed the beauty of Toba Lake during their visit in March 2020. This is the latest special moment for our close diplomatic relation. And next, Borobudur Temple in Central Java. Borobudur has a unique location in between Central Java and Yogyakarta, which rich of culture. Borobudur is the biggest and largest Buddhist temple in the world made from natural stones. The value of Borobudur temple lies on its historical story. Next. Okay, Mandalika is another super priority destination. Mandalika could be reached with a direct flight to Lombok International Airport of West Nusa Tenggara. Mandalika has various attraction sites. Tanjung An is beautiful beach with the spread of white sands. Desa Sade is another interesting site when visiting Mandalika. Desa Sade is a traditional village as the home of Sasak tribe. The native tribe of West Nusa Tenggara, Mandalika. Merese Hill is a highland where people could enjoy the beautiful scenery of Mandalika from above. Mandalika is also planned to be the official MotoGP circuit. Next, Labuan Bajo, is the next super priority destination of Indonesia. Labuan Bajo is a great marine tourism destination. Travelers could do hopping island in Labuan Bajo by visiting a number of attractive islands such as Padar Island, where people could see wider scenery from the top. Pink Beach has beautiful pink sands combined with clear water. Taka Makassar is a small sand island in the middle of the ocean with fresh and crystal clear water. Manta Point is the spot where travelers could swim with manta. Kanawa Island is a snorkeling spot with various beautiful fishes. Besides that, there is a famous island called National Park of Komodo in Labuan Bajo. National Park of Komodo is great attraction where travelers could meet Komodo dragon, the one and only Komodo species in the world. Next. Yeah, the last super priority destination is Likupang. Likupang is located in North Sulawesi. It could be reached around 30 minutes from Manado through the toll road of Manado-Likupang. Maybe it sounds new for us, but Likupang is no joke with its charm of marine in the east of Indonesia. Likupang has a world-class resort that would greet travelers. The Hague Island and Gangga Island in Likupang are great diving spot. The water are very clear and coral are still well preserved. Travelers could also enjoy beautiful sunrise and sunset in these two islands. As we mentioned earlier, that the international travelers is restricted while waiting for that to reopen. Next. Yeah, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy is focused on developing tourist village as an effort to provide job opportunities and increase the competitiveness of Indonesian tourism. Tourist village has become a world tourism trend. offering authentic holiday experience amidst a relaxed and healthy environment. For this reason, synergy programs are needed to develop tourist villages in order to attract tourists. In developing tourist village, there are six assistants. Next. The first one is tourism village management, development of tourism village products, waste management, risk and disaster management, tourism business and CSSE certification, and the sixth land certification. Another main policy of our ministry is social protection program. Next. Yeah, this is an important because tourism and creative economy is hugely impacted by the pandemic. Social protection program focus on the activities that supports the handling of the coronavirus disease 19 pandemic and are mitigating the impact of COVID-19 for tourism business and creative economy, such as the increase of the quality of destinations, attraction, amenities, and accessibility through the concept of sustainable tourism development and application of Sabta Pesona, targeting the tourism and the creative economy through the BISA. BISA is clean, beautiful, BISA is bersih, indah, sehat, dan aman. Clean, beautiful, healthy, and safe, and coordinating the implementation of health and safety standards at the destinations. The second, reactivation of the hospitality industry through supporting accommodation and supporting other facilities for health workers and confirmed patient self-isolation. The third one, implementation of cleanliness, health, safety, and environmental sustainability activities. In the middle of this pandemic, life should keep going. We have to live with the virus by implementing the health protocols. We are now the new normal era. The next question would be how we survive our tourism and creative economy industry during this new normal era. Next. In the during this new normal era, we have to do the various stages to promote and to keep our existence of tourism and creative economy industry. The first is examining the travel corridor arrangement. Besides that, we also have to prepare our destination with CSSE protocol. The third, doing social media campaign. And the fourth, we have to reconnect the world through webinar series, virtual exhibition, and also sales mission. So to support this new normal, Ministry of Health and Health has released regulation regarding protocol for public facilities and some tourist economic creative sectors, including accommodation, restaurant. Next. Yeah, accommodation, restaurant, transportation services, tourist attraction, facilities for sports and recreation activities, spa, creative economy, and MICE center, but also not forgetting public facilities such as market, shopping center, malls, and shops, train and bus station, and religious activities as well. Following above regulation, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy launched a CSSE protocol. CSSE, which is the abbreviation of such clean, healthy, safety, and environmental sustainability, is a new commitment in order to adapt tourism and creative economy sectors during the new normal era. This protocol would ensure safety and comfort of visitors in Indonesia. Moreover, this protocol shows that Indonesia is more than ready to welcome visitors around the world to have pleasant time during their visit to Indonesia. Minister also do Indonesia Care campaign. The manifest of this campaign are certification and labeling of Indonesia Care to the destination which has implemented CSRC protocol properly. Next. Oh, sorry. Back to the previous one. Yeah. For example, is Bintan. Bintan was the first regency to receive the certificate of Indonesia Care. Bintan is one of the entrances for international visitors to enter Indonesia. Bintan has implemented CSRC protocol properly, and it's proven by its fatality rate for below 3% and considered as green zone. This could be a real example that implementing CSRC properly could depress the spread of COVID-19, and this should be followed by other destinations in Indonesia. Next, referring to the three fundamental concepts of our minister, we have to be super creative in reviving our tourism and creative economy sector. We could see many programs that are suitable to be applied during this era as our benchmark. One of them is flight charter. Flight charter is the right choice to travel during the pandemic. Flight charter would give more comfort and safety for tourists. The first country would be Poland. This program would be implemented from July in cooperation with Panorama, July to October 2021, in cooperation with Panorama Destination. The next would be with Ukraine. I think that's from me. We hope that we could work together with Indonesia Diaspora in promoting our tourism and creative industry to wider scope. With the involvement of our diaspora, Indonesia should be more famous around the world. Do not forget to always bring our character and dignity as a proud Indonesian wherever we are. After this, I would like to invite Bapak Agus Abdul Majid, the Deputy Director for Immigration and International Cooperation, Ministry of Law and Human Rights of the Republic of Indonesia. Bapak Agus, Bapak Majid would explain more in details regarding the updated information of the regulation on immigration. Finally, with a high hope to welcome you back to Indonesia, I send my best regards from Indonesia to all of you in the Netherlands and hope that you could get the benefit from this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak Iman. Am I allowed to share a short presentation also, Pak? Okay. Good afternoon to colleagues in the Netherlands and good evening to colleagues in Indonesia. My presentation is about immigration policy responses in the new normal era and trying to find the balance between prosperity and security approaches. This is the political stance of Indonesian immigration, whereas immigration shall be defined as all means related to the mobility of people entering into or exit from the territory of Indonesia and its control in order to protect and uphold the state sovereignty. Of course, you can tell that immigration are playing a strategic roles in maintaining and upholding the state sovereignty. In accordance to our Immigration Act, Act number 6, year 2011, we have 4 roles: public services, law enforcement, state security, and facilitator of economic development and public welfare. Of course, those 4 functions represent the two equally important approaches, the security approach and the prosperity approach. This is actually universally applied to all immigration all over the world, whereas we are facing the challenges of balancing prosperity and security approach. We have the responsibility of securing the borders, enforcing the immigration law, but at the same time, we also need to facilitate investment, tourism, in order to give better public services and facilitate economic development in the Indonesia. As you can see that the pandemic have affected millions of people all over the world. You can see that the confirmed case in Indonesia of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Indonesia is quite alarming. But however, the number of recovered case is also surprisingly high. I have to admit that this is a part of a successful effort of the Indonesian government in trying to suppress the elevated cases of COVID-19 with the restriction of travels internationally and domestically. So what's on the table? Of course, in Indonesia, we have a selective immigration policy, whereas only foreigners who offer benefit and do not pose any kinds of risk to the public security and public interest in Indonesia shall be granted entry and stay permit in the territory of Indonesia. We see COVID-19 pandemic as part of the threats. We see a potential public health risk there. So we need to respond immediately using both approach, prosperity and security approach. As you can tell, almost every month in Indonesia, we issued new immigration policy. Since January last year, 2020, until now, February 2021, where we are currently implementing the temporary prohibition for foreigners to enter Indonesian territory with several exemptions. Unfortunately, for tourist visit, it's still being temporarily prohibited. This is the statistic of Dutch travelers into Indonesia from 2018, 2019, and 2020. As you can tell, in 2018, 2019, the number is quite high, more than 200,000 Dutch travelers into Indonesia. However, in 2020, of course, the number is significantly declining, only around 40,000 only. This is the new policy, the new immigration policy towards new normal. Of course, in order to revive the zest of the, you can tell that the pandemic is not only affecting the public health in Indonesia, but also affecting the economy. In order to revive the zest of economic development, the government of Indonesia trying and assess the potential way in reviving the economic development, and one of that is with reopening the border limitedly by travel arrangement in response to COVID-19. Until now, we have 4 travel corridor arrangement with the United Arab Emirates Safe Travel Corridor Arrangement, with the Republic of Korea Travel Corridor Arrangement, with the People's Republic of China, we call it Fast Lane or Travel Corridor Arrangement, with the Republic of Singapore, Reciprocal Green Lane or Travel Corridor Arrangement for essential travel. And regionally in ASEAN, we also proposed the ASEAN Declaration on an ASEAN Travel Corridor Arrangement Framework. In related to the tourism sector, there have been pathways. The government have laid some pathways to reopen Indonesian border for tourism. There are a series of senior official meetings. However, I need to emphasize here that the business, the issue of reopening borders are highly political. So apart from the technical level preparation, we also need the political will or political decision from a higher official. That's why until now, the border are still closed for tourism. Of course, whenever there's a decision from a higher official to reopen Indonesian border for tourism, there's some adjustment in policy that need to be made in tourism, in immigration, in health, in transportation, etc. In terms of immigration policy, we will maintain sponsored visa regime with guarantor in Indonesia. However, the term guarantor will be more lenience for tourism if the decision to open Indonesian border for tourism has been made, whereas a hotel and travel agency could be the guarantor for tourists. We still temporarily suspend the visa waiver and visa on arrival. I understand previously the Dutch are a subject of the visa waiver and visa on arrival. And also we introduced the new electronic visa. Whereas with this electronic visa, it will be a very seamless process, whereas foreigners could just, or the sponsor could just log into the visa online platform, and then they could lodge the application, and the visa will be sent to their emails. Of course, already mentioned by Pak Iman about safe tourism, where all tourism destinations should implement the CHSE, cleanliness, healthy, safety, and environment sustainable, and also BISA, the abbreviation of bersih, indah, apa lagi tadi? BISA protocol. Iya Pak, mohon maaf Pak. And also, if the decision is made to open tourism, to open border for tourism, probably as a pilot project, only one destination will be open and only 2 selected countries. And of course, from the Ministry of Health, there will be an implementation of the new electronic health alert card for all travelers. This is the plan of revising the ministerial regulation, the current regulation number 26 year 2020. If it is made, the decision is made to reopen Indonesian border for tourists, then it will be able to be used for tourism. However, we will maintain a sponsored regime visa, where everyone who enter Indonesia must have sponsor or guarantor. This is the suggested requirements for the visa. It's pretty straightforward. And also the introduction of the online electronic visa. This electronic visa is a seamless process, whereas guarantor should lodge the application within 1 or 2 days. The immigration system will do a background check, profiling, things like that on the background, and within 2 days, we will have the approval or rejection of the visa if there's no issues found. This is the conventional visa, whereas previously foreigners, the sponsor need to process the visa approval first from the Director General of Immigration in Jakarta, and then we will send telex to the Indonesian embassies or Indonesian consular office overseas. And the Indonesian embassies and consular office will issue the visa sticker. Then the foreigners can enter Indonesia. While with the e-visa, upon the approval, the electronic visa will be sent through email. So they're removing the hassle of foreigners have to apply the visa sticker physically to Indonesian embassy or consular offices. We also, as a part of our way in reviving the zest of the Indonesian economic development, we will introduce the second home visa scheme as a way forward, where this type of visa will be dedicated to bona fide international travelers, digital nomads, people who work online, and also silver-haired tourists. This is still a discourse. It's a way forward, but we are in technical level, we are preparing all the technical necessities. Of course, in facing this calamity, helping each other is an utmost importance. We have assisted many embassies, including the Netherlands embassies, in repatriating their nationals home, and of course, it's more than 200 repatriation flights have been facilitated by the government of Indonesia from 31 countries, with a number of foreigners reaching the number of 14,000, more than 14,000. I believe that's all my presentation. I wish everybody are safe and healthy condition, of course, I will welcome any concern, any queries regarding my presentation. I thank you, and I return the floors to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Majid, and thank you, Pak Iman. Both of very interesting presentations. I receive already questions via WhatsApp if you can share the presentations with some of the people, because you give so much information. And
Of course, I will be able to share you.
We can thank you very much for your. We can only hope that the Netherlands will be selected as one of the travel bubble destinations one day soon. Tourism is, of course, a very important pillar for development and for growth in Indonesia. And I calculated that 11.7% of the jobs in Indonesia are tourism related. So that's quite high. And we hope this can only grow. This development in tourism villages will also contribute to the better spread of tourism. So all in all, very positive, as soon as we get out of this situation altogether, it's a very positive way to move forward. Before we go to the next speaker, we will now listen to a song called Engolari by Grace Simon. Thank you.
Cari sampai dapat enggo. Enggo lari, lari baku cari sampai dapat enggo. Jaga-jaga enggo, polo rapat enggo. Jaga jangan sampai beta enggo. Awas kalau enggo beta dapat, beta polo rapat. Jaga-jaga enggo, polo rapat enggo. Jaga jangan sampai beta enggo. Awas kalau enggo beta dapat, beta polo rapat.
Well, thank you very much for this performance. We will go to the next speaker now, and I would like to welcome the Pak Ida Bagus Made Bimantara, in short, Pak Made. He is responsible at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the European Affairs. Pak Made, the floor is yours. Good luck.
Thank you, Ibu Susan. It's very good to see you all again, and especially to see Ibu Susan again. I think we had a video conference a few months back during the early months of the pandemic, and now we're here again to discuss. So I'm really glad that we're sitting here together. And let me greet a number of our friends, of course, Ambassador Mayervas, Pak Iman Santosa, and Pak Iswandi Said, Pak Richard Lohana Pesi, the Mayor of Ambon, and Mincon Ferry, and also our good friend from DC, Gaby Hasnan, who is here. Yeah, I used to work together with Ibu Gaby Hasnan in Washington, DC, and now she's also here. If you could show my presentation, we prepared a quick PPT presentation here for all of us to talk about this issue. And I think what has been presented by Pak Iman and also Pak Majid has only increased at least my appetite for travels, especially to Indonesia and all the beautiful places. Has just increased our appetite, not diminished, even though we're stuck at our respective homes. But the destination is still there. The mountains are still beautiful. The beaches are still pristine, and we are looking forward very much to the time when you will be traveling back to Indonesia. So policy update, traveling to Indonesia in the new normal. In the next slide, I just would like to highlight quickly the importance of the Netherlands for Indonesia relationship in general, and more specifically on the tourism component of it. Of course, the Netherlands is Indonesia's strategic partner. It's been our strategic partner for many years since 2013. And the Netherlands is also our second largest trading partner in Europe. And tourists arriving from Europe is also quite large. I think the fourth largest destination for, source for inbound tourism for Indonesia. And of course, our bilateral trade is one of the biggest, and the Netherlands is the largest investors in Indonesia. And of course, we have a long historical relationship, and we now have a forward-looking relations that we are building together. Now, in the next slide, I just would like to highlight a number of statistics about the tourism sector. I think Pak Iman has mentioned this, but let me just quickly illustrate how bad this sector is for Indonesia, specifically for Bali and then the Riau Island, which depends about 60 to 70% of their respective economies to inbound tourism. In the year 2020, the Indonesia's economy contracted by about 5.3%. In Bali, it contracted by twice as much, about minus 10%, and similar number, about 7 to 8% in the Riau Islands, which depends very much on tourism. And I've visited Bali a number of times since October, November, and December, precisely to prepare Bali as a pilot project for opening tourism later on, when that political decision has been made. And I witnessed firsthand what the industry has been has been experiencing, what the guides in Bali has been experiencing, what the SMEs has been experiencing with this drop in the number of tourism. They had to survive from their savings, from selling of their assets, and from using much of their saving in Bali. So it is a priority for Indonesia's government to support the economic recovery of the tourism sector. So we have been doing all that we can since at least July last year to prepare Bali and other destination for a possible reopening. So the numbers here show that in 2019, for example, we had about 13 something million tourism, and it dropped significantly the number to be less than about 2 million tourism in 2020. And the next slide also shows a similar drop when you see inbound tourism coming from the Netherlands. And despite all of these challenges, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, and also the Immigration Department, we have been working very hard in terms of preparing all the necessary elements of our tourism sector to reopen. So we have been working with the airport in Bali, and also hotels and restaurants, and also the destination, the tourism destination. And every time I talk to the industry, and I remember also last time when we had this video conference, the 40 billion question, 40 billion is the number of contribution that the tourism sector in Indonesia gives to the Indonesia's overall economy. The 40 billion question always posed by our industry and our tourism sector is, when are we going to open Bali? When are we going to reopen our borders? When are we going to allow inbound tourism in? We have been preparing to open that border since last July, right? And we were confident in December that we were going to propose for it to reopen sometime in the first quarter of 2021, assuming that, of course, the vaccination program is on track, and also there's no other force majeure happening. But then in the beginning of this year, in January, we learned about the new variant of COVID-19 coming from the UK and South Africa and Brazil and other countries. And the limited opening that we had, we closed it again for a number of weeks, with the new regulations coming almost every couple of weeks, right? Majid, I think he has mentioned
That's correct,
regulation coming and going every time there's changes in our policies. So we had to reorganize our plan and think about other more creative ways, perhaps, of opening in a limited ways. At first, we wanted to open for at least 4 countries that Indonesia already has a travel corridor arrangement with Singapore, for example, Korea, China, and the UAE. But now, looking at this new development, we are developing a new plan together with the Ministry of Tourism and, of course, Immigration and other relevant agencies and ministries here in Indonesia, to target those tourists who has been vaccinated. So So vaccinated tourists in the future will be our priority target. Now, how do we go about doing that? I think we can learn from a number of countries which has tried or rolled out this similar plan to this, such as Cyprus, Romania, Seychelles, and Georgia in Europe, and other countries as well. And we are working with a number of countries, our neighboring countries, and also countries far afield, like what Pak Iman said, Poland and other countries, to look at the best way of planning and executing such a plan, including working with the industry, with the tour and travel operators throughout the region and throughout Europe as well, and working together with a number of airlines to ensure that only vaccinated tourists can come into Indonesia, and that, of course, there will be a strict protocol observed by those inbound tourism coming into Indonesia. And as what Pak Iman and also Pak Majid mentioned, and many, I think more than 400, for example, tourism destination hotels and restaurants in Bali has been certified as CHSE, clean, healthy, secure, and environmentally friendly. And also many hundreds of destination and hotels in other places, such as Bintan, has also been certified. So when we talk to the industry and to the tourism player, we say that we cannot for sure 100% say when we will open our borders. But what we can together do is preparing ourselves in the event that the borders become open. And that means having the highest standard in protocol for health and for security protocols, since before boarding the plane, in the plane, and also when arriving in our territory, including in our airport, hotels, restaurants, and the tourism destination. Of course, we cannot do this alone, Indonesia alone. We need to work together with a number of countries, Netherlands including, and also countries within our immediate region. So in the next slide, just wanting to show about the border control, but I think Pak Majid has highlighted this, so I will not talk much more on the requirements for these border controls for foreign nationals entry into Indonesia, including the needs for medical and health certificate, negative COVID-19, and also going forward certificate for vaccination. And it is still the requirement after arriving in Indonesia to comply and be quarantined for 5 days in places accredited by the government of Indonesia. And this requirement, this e-visa currently is only for essential business travel and other form of essential travel into Indonesia. But going forward, we will review this policy again and see whether we will reopen for general travelers coming into Indonesia. So the next slide, this is the plan that we currently have been thinking for the last few weeks. We have an ongoing plan to have a travel bubble arrangement with a number of countries, whereby we make sure that the end-to-end travel is safe and secure, and also guarantees the safety of each of the passenger and also the people in the destination. And we are thinking of rolling out a number of pilot projects, 2 pilot projects in Bali and in Bintan, which is currently in the planning stages. And in the next slide, the ongoing plan is to reopen Bali and also Bintan for as international tourism destination. And the big question is, when are we going to implement this? And this will be subject to developments in the first quarter of 2021, subject to rolling out of the vaccine, for example, in Indonesia, and rolling out of the vaccines, for example, in countries that we are thinking about connecting, or in countries that we are thinking about cooperating as a source for our inbound tourism. So, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot for sure, of course, say when exactly Indonesia will be open for international tourism arrival, but when that decision has been taken, let me assure you that all of our tourism sector, all of our elements and components in the tourism sector will be more than ready to welcome all of you in a safe and secure way, with the certification necessary, and with the destination still as pristine, as beautiful, and as alluring as never before. So, ladies and gentlemen, this next slide, of course, just would like to quickly highlight the Indonesian foreign policy strategies in times of this COVID-19. We have been having a number of international cooperation through active engagement with partner countries, of course, to bring vaccine into Indonesia, and also in the beginning of the pandemic, the necessary PPE. And now we are working on recovery of the tourism sector and recovery of our economic sector. And we are doing this through bilateral, regional, and also multilateral approach. And the next slide, please. We also have been working very hard to have increased cooperation between Indonesia and the Netherlands. Mind you that the last international visitor into Indonesia before COVID struck was the King and Queen of the Netherlands in March, and this was before all the COVID-19 challenges broke off. So we have been intensifying efforts to promote collaboration between Indonesia and also the Netherlands, including adjusting to the new normal in terms of the government and the tourism industry communities, and support from the Indonesian communities in the Netherlands. So I really appreciate that all of the Indonesian diaspora in the Netherlands are in full support of all of these. And going forward, we continue to promote priority destinations to targeted audiences in the Netherlands and in Europe in general, to maintain the interest to visit Indonesia and create new and potential tourists to visit Indonesia. So stay tuned, Ibu Susan, and all of our friends in the Netherlands. We will inform, of course, when there's new policy about reopening our borders in some form or shape, either limited or more wide in its policy. In the meantime, I just would like to say again, thank you very much. Dank u wel, and have a good day. Goedemiddag. Thank you very much. Ibu Susan, I return the Zoom screen to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Made. Thank you very much for your informative presentation again. I've been collecting already some questions, but before we go to the questions, we have one more song and one more speaker to go. And so during the song, get yourself a cup of coffee. Then we go to the last speaker, which I would like to give the floor after the song. So now what we are going to do is we're going to listen to a song called Coro Corone by Grace Simon and Yu Yoon George. Thank you.
Sana lo kemari, lo kolenso manari, katanya minta nona sio nona belagu, dengar donci babunyi, sio nona sandar bau. Meski nona duduk jauh, beta panggil terus menyaut, laju-laju lekas datang kemari. Tidak mau, belum dipanggil sudah nyaut, sebab nona punya suka sendiri. Goro-goro nih, patoka-toka bia, lo sana lo kemari, lo kolenso manari, katanya minta nona sio nona belagu, dengar donci babunyi, sio nona sandar bau. Meski nona duduk jauh, beta panggil terus menyaut, laju-laju lekas datang kemari. Pura-pura tidak mau, belum dipanggil sudah nyaut, sebab nona punya suka sendiri. Pura-pura tidak mau, belum dipanggil sudah nyaut, sebab nona punya suka sendiri.
Well, we're going to the last speaker. I hope you enjoyed this song. I did. I would like to give the floor to last but definitely not least, Mr. Iswandi Said. Pak Iswandi is the President Director of Hotel Indonesia Natur, but we all know it in the travel industry as INA Hotels. So Pak Iswandi, the floor is yours, and please leave some time for questions because I have a list of already. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Your Excellency, Ambassador of Republic of Indonesia for Netherlands, Bapak Mair Vas, Bapak Richard Lohenapesi, Mayor of Ambon, Chairman of Indonesia Diaspora, the Netherlands, Ibu Lani Praja Harja, and other speaker, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, distinguished audience, very good afternoon and very good evening. Thank you very much for that opportunity to give me to do that presentation about the formation of state-owned tourism holding and new strategies to increase the number of retailers. Can I share that presentation, please? Next, please. Next, please. As we are aware all that since COVID-19 has affected every sector across the globe, before the slide. Okay. Since we are aware that since COVID-19 has affected every sector across the globe, the hotel industry is among the hardest hit. It is a situation outlook since the 2020 actually that our situation in the industry, tourism industry, the trend in the first quarter of 2020, the business, you can see that from the red line increase, and we call that business in that period is in the business as usual mode, or we call now the old normal. And suddenly on that March 2020, that the pandemic happened in the world, including Indonesia as well. We come to that survival mode, and in the time we call it the situation is new normal. You can see that red line dropped dramatically until that situation become worse with that our tourism industry. And we hope in that next normal, we come to that recovery and growth mode. And we do hope that new normal is a time for tourism industry to turn on the survival mode. Next, please. This is a little bit about that Hotel Indonesia in Indonesia. Hotel Indonesia Natur, it is founded on August 5th, 1962. We call that HIN, or some of people say that HIN is a state-owned enterprises company engaged in hospitality services and now has the business or commercial name of INA Hotels and Resort. HIN has 14 units of hotel and resort with 2,375 rooms in Bali, Jawa, and Sumatra, namely Inaya Putri Bali Nusa Dua, Grand Ina Kuta in Kuta, Grand Ina Padang in West Sumatra, Grand Ina Bali Beach in Sanur area, Grand Ina Malioboro in Yogyakarta, Grand Ina Tunjungan in Surabaya, Grand Ina Samudra Beach in Pelabuhan Ratu, Sukabumi, and Grand Ina Medan in North Sumatra, Ina Bali Beach Garden, Ina Bali Beach Resort in the Sanur area, Ina Tretes Hotel and Resort, in the Pasuruan, East Java, Ina Parapat Hotel and Resort in the Lake Toba, Ina Sindu Beach Hotel and Resort, and Ina Bali Heritage Hotel in Denpasar, Bali. Next, please. Hotel Indonesia Natur challenges in the new normal. 3 big challenges for SIN during the pandemic. We can see from the occupancy, hotel occupancy dropped to single digits in that period. No new customer growth due to uncertainty and restriction and new government policies and regulation. Productivity decreases due to the limited resources. Hotel units renovation plan are postponed. And assistance, SIN remains open. We are still open in that period. We never closed our hotel and in that operation amid a wave of hotel closures. SIN continued to expand and innovate business despite limited communication channel. Next, please. So we come with the thing to new normal. Intermittent distancing may be required into 2022 unless critical care capacity is increased substantially or a treatment or vaccine become available. Harvard Study Science 2020. Please. Next, please. Okay. The face of challenges, SIN set 5 priority strategic: safety, hospitality and flexibility, sustainability, creativity, and synergy. Safety, provide a sense of safety, security, and comfort to the guests by carrying out strict health protocol and continuing to improve services by prioritizing on the cleanliness, health, safety, and environmental sustainability, or CHSE, and B, over flexible rate and flexible term and condition to increase occupancy and productivity, taking service to the next level while adhering to health protocol. And sustainability, keep all hotel open and plan survival, recovery strategies that will enable SIN to get back quickly in the game of after COVID-19 in the post-pandemic revival of tourism. For the creativity, introduce business model innovation, communication strategies, promotion and publication, and maximizing digital communication to add new market from millennials and Gen Z. And for the synergy, be part of the state-owned enterprise tourism holding Pariwisata BUMN, and hotel holding hotel BUMN, and program to strengthen competitiveness to reach world-class level tourism destination, and most importantly, to accelerate post-COVID-19 recovery. Next, please. Is that SIN participate in the 2 holding in the state-owned enterprises. First is the holding hotel co. Hotel 11 of Hotel HIN, SIN, it is become holding to own to the Wika Realty, and one of the hotel consists of one complex of hotel consists of Ina Bali Beach Resort, Ina Bali Beach Garden and Tower. We link to that tourism holding. So SIN will join in the 2 state-owned enterprises holding, what we call is tourism holding and holding co, hotel holding co. And 11 holding will be part of the Wika Realty by special purposes vehicle, and SIN will be a shareholder in Wika Realty. SIN and Wika Realty collaborate through the subsidiary in hotel operator business, Hotel Indonesia Group. Hotel Indonesia Group is official hotel operator for BUM and hotels, which will operate 105 BUM hotels in Hotel Indonesia chains until 2025. So we are focused to become operators in the hotel. All hotel belong to state-owned enterprises. Next. Next, please. This is the scheme for that formation for the state-owned tourism holding. That we have 7 state-owned enterprises in the tourism, such as Angkasa Pura I, Angkasa Pura II, Garuda Indonesia, ITDC, TWC, Taman Wisata Candi, TWC, and HIN or INA, and Sarina as well. This is that our role on the holding members. Angkasa Pura I as an airport management for central and east area like Bali, Yogyakarta, Manado, etc. And Angkasa Pura II, airport manager for central and west area like Jakarta, Medan, etc. Garuda as provides full service carrier and low-cost carrier like Citylink, and ITDC become destination development tourism, destination development of Mandalika like the Labuan Bajo, and content creator for Indonesian tourism. It is the role for ITDC. TWC, heritage management, heritage-based asset development like the Candi Borobudur Temple, local handicraft, cultural attraction, etc. Especially for SIN, become hotel and travel management, hotel asset development, and bonding all core business from tourism holding members in the travel technology platform to optimize the ecosystem. And Sarina as a retail management, marketing and development local product, and duty-free management in the airport and tourism destination. It is the first ecosystem in the holding tourism. Next, please. Holding strategic objective, first is the accelerate inclusive economic and human capital development, and then national and global connectivity, enhancement, business and market expansion, service operational excellence, and portfolio management optimization. It is accelerate inclusive economic and human capital development. We drive integrated recovery effort for all players within the tourism ecosystem, minimize, mitigate impact of COVID-19 crisis for employees and suppliers, reduce economic and social disparity, develop cross-sectoral human capital capacity and capability, strengthen collective competitive advantage to capture pent-up demand post the crisis, focus capabilities to create accessibility and connectivity through an integrated hub system across Indonesia archipelago. And for the business and market expansion, harness cross entities opportunities to expand into new segment and market, increase economies of scale and positioning. Service and operation excellence, enhance sector safety and security, operational excellence throughout portfolio value chain businesses, develop agility to respond to rapidly changing market, and portfolio management focusing on core business for each entity to optimize value creation, efficiency, improvement by streamlining portfolio and avoiding duplication. It is the holding strategic objective. Next, please. And then a new strategy to increase the number of national and international alignment core values and connect our partner to our vision. Set some vision with the retailers to improve the economies of both parties. Number 2, go beyond transaction and beyond collaborative, prioritizing collaboration and expanding network both across region and across country. Number 3, be true and selective. Choose the specific and selective tourism packages. And number 4, long-term share purpose. Set long-term partnership. Number 5, complementary strength. Improve services and facilities by alignment. Produce to recent condition. Proactive intentional communication, develop an interactive communication and transparent system. And number 7, strategic planning, optimize digital system and do promotion by involving key opinion leaders and public figures. It is the new strategy to increase the number of national and international market. Next, please. It is the end of that my presentation about the situation, what we are doing now for back to the new normal, and we do hope that strategic with the holding of hotels and holding tourism in the tourism will help us to back to that our previous performance in the tourism industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Iswandi, for your informative presentation. I see that you are welcome, or you're almost ready to receive new tourists again. And it's only a matter of opening of the borders again, and you are ready to receive them in your beautiful hotels. We are now going to open the floor for questions. I received a number already. And the first questions I would like to ask are the ones I received from Pak Flip from Merapi Tours, Pak Flip Stoltenberg. Is it possible to open his microphone as well? I don't know. The question is for Pak Majib and Pak Made, I think. This is the question. Did I understand well that the first pilot with Poland will start in July, meaning that the Netherlands won't be allowed to send tourists before August or so? If I listened well, we should therefore not make any bookings for our Dutch high season, which are the months of July and August. Anyone?
So who was this question for, Miss Susan?
This is a question of Mr. Flip Stoltenberg, and he is the owner of an Indonesia specialist in the Netherlands called Merapi Tours. So perhaps you can try to open his microphone as well. I don't know.
All right, I think I'm going to take a stab at trying to answer his most difficult question, I think, the $40 billion question of when the reopening will take place. I think like what has been discussed, we are doing all the preparation. However, that will depend on development going forward. And those development depends on a number of elements. First is how spread out the vaccination program are already in place in Indonesia, especially the tourist destination in Bali and Bintan. And secondly, how the vaccination program are rolled out in the source countries that we are planning to have this travel bubble with. And we are observing a number of countries, for example, Singapore and Korea and a number of other countries. And of course, we are looking at Netherlands as well. And only after the authorities here in Indonesia, we are satisfied with the developments, then we will provide the necessary recommendation for the ministers, and then ultimately the president to reopen Indonesia's borders. As was mentioned before, this is a political, of course, decision, but it rests on solid scientific evidence to back it up. I think most of the countries in the world are not yet reopening their borders. New Zealand and Australia, they had a travel bubble, but recently they closed again because of a few cases of COVID springing up in New Zealand, for example. So we do not want to have a situation where we prematurely open Indonesian borders and then we need to close it again because there is a spread of the virus in the destination, the tourism destination in Indonesia. So I'm sorry that I cannot provide you 100% exact date for your question, but we are planning for the first half of 2021, depending on the development, of course. Bu Susan, back to you.
Yes, I hope this answers the question.
If I may, Bu Susan.
Yes.
I believe this is in line with Director Sade answer. As of now, we are implementing temporary prohibition of entry for foreigners into Indonesia with the exemption of several categories. Those who are involved in the National Strategic Project, those who hold of ITAS and ITAP in Indonesia, business essentials, those are allowed to enter Indonesia. For businessmen, if they already secure a business visa to enter Indonesia, those are who are exempted from the prohibition. Of course, if say their business is only for 1 week or say 10 days, our business visa are valid for 60 days. So if they already finished their business visit, those who have business visa, they can utilize the rest of their stay in Indonesia if they want to visit all these tourism destinations, of course. So foreigners with business visa are not prohibited to visit tourism spots or destination and spend the rest of their stay permit for leisure or tourism activities. Business visa is valid for up to 60 days, whereas business visit are mostly short. I believe that's what I could add. Thank you, Bu Susan.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak. I have a question which I just received in the chat box, and I think it's in the same type of question, and that is from Vivian van der Weijden. And she says, I understand that even when the borders are opening, the COVID vaccine is mandatory to enter Indonesia, right? So this means that in our country, for example, we are super slow with vaccinations. We have only 3% of the population now vaccinated, and it's also because the vaccines are not coming so quickly. So this means that we are able to enter, to go to Indonesia after September, October, when it is expected that we are all vaccinated. Is this correct?
I believe that question need to be addressed to representative from our Ministry of Health. I understand it, they need a negative PCR test result in order to enter Indonesia, and then they will be retest upon arrival in Indonesia. But I'm not sure about the vaccine. Maybe other resource person could give a more clearer answer.
At the moment, Ibu Susan, the rules and regulation as what was mentioned by Pak Majid is that they need the PCR result certificate to come into Indonesia, and Indonesia's borders are only open for those essential travelers, including for business, government purposes, and other emergency or essential travel. But we are developing policies going forward to allow in the future, but this is still in the development stages, to allow those tourists having been vaccinated COVID-19 to come into Indonesia. So this policy is still not in place. We are still currently developing and of course talking with the relevant agencies here in Indonesia to plan for this policy.
Yes, what I notice here is that people are trying to book holidays to Indonesia, right? And they had holidays booked already in 2020. Most people were very friendly and they wanted to postpone the trip to Indonesia to 2021. But now we are already in 2021 and it's difficult for tour operators here and travel agencies to judge whether they can send the people back to Indonesia in our high season, which is July or August, or whether it's better to postpone it until the end of the year. And of course, it's difficult to judge this because no one knows really, because we don't know what the stages of vaccinations are in Indonesia at the moment, and we don't know the stage of vaccination in our country, etc. But what they like to know more or less is what to tell consumers. Is it better to postpone the trip until the very end of the year, or do you think some travel to Bali will be possible in July and August already, given the fact that we are tested completely and this is and perhaps even vaccinated? What do you recommend them to say to their customers? Because by the end of the day, we all want them to travel to Indonesia in a safe way. And they are now trying to sort of book already or see what they have to do with the existing booking as well. So I think this is the question what they ask.
This is a very difficult question, I think, to answer, Bu Susan.
I think Bu Susan, that's why from the Ministry of Tourism, we need some inputs from the demand from outside, because if there is some inputs, some demand, there's a demand probably Vito already know about this. Demands is very important for us to make a decision. So that's why we need some numbers. Yeah, probably if you can say for now, probably from Netherlands, they already probably say to 20,000 bookings, or probably from France or another countries. And then if we can collect these numbers, and then we can talk to Pak Menteri the situation outside. So if you cannot make something decision, so the benefit will be gone. But it's depend also from the vaccination. If the vaccination is success, the border will be open. So it's as Pak Sade said, it's difficult to say when the border will be open. Thank you.
Yeah, and I have another question. This is a question of TUI, Peter Doornekamp, who they own their own charter flights, for example, and he is asking a question about the corridor. And he says, will arriving by charter be mandatory to establish such corridor? Like you in your, I will explain, I think this is what Peter means. In your presentation, Pak Maji, you said you have two charters coming from Poland and another country, I can't remember the other country, established.
I believe that's not on my presentation, Bu. From Pak Iman, maybe.
Oh, Pak Iman. Pak
Yeah.
Iman, that's not your presentation. Sorry about this. And of course, the question is, imagine you set up a travel bubble or travel corridor, whatever the name we will be picking. And imagine we would do a travel corridor with the Netherlands. Is it possible? Is that possible with any flight, or do you need a special charter for that? That's, I think, the question.
Okay, thank you, Bu Susan. For example, I just mentioned about the charter flight on my presentation is from Poland, because this is the way to revive. We need some innovation and adaptation in this COVID-19 pandemic. And also the situation need collaboration. That's why I raise this charter flight as one of the way to revive. And one of the other the important things is cooperation with airline, tour operator, and the ministry. For this the Poland tourists, I think a lot airlines has offering the cheap ticket to the Rainbow travel agent. I think if I'm not mistaken, the company, and then that's the important elements to have a charter flight, the cheaper ticket. And for the certain airline, I think it depends on the what the airline can give the cheaper air ticket. That's we can do we can share with you. And also Ukraine the Pacific holidays make a cooperation with Garuda to have a charter flight from Kiev to Indonesia. That's why for the airline, it's depend on the tour operator can have the cooperation with the another any airline. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope this answers the questions, Peter. I have another a short question, I think. Is there a special strategy in place to promote cruise ships coming back to Indonesia? I think Pak Iman.
Cruise ship, yeah, I think it will be the same with the another tourists by air flight or something, but it's depend on the border when where is the cruise will be visit first the port. The first port will be visited, and then because up to now, if I'm not mistaken, the ministry doesn't have a planning for certain cruise program.
Yeah.
We just focus on the air flight, and also from like Singapore to Bintan, penyeberangan. Only that we can focus on. Maybe Pak Sade can explain about the Bintan and Singapore.
Pak Sade? Paksari, did you hear that?
Can you hear me? Hello,
Yeah,
can you hear
now
me?
Probably you can explain
Okay.
more about the Singapore and Bintan for travel corridor.
Okay, I think one of the most important takeaways of tonight is this exactly the question posed. You mentioned, Ibu Susan, when we have the travel bubble between Indonesia and the Netherlands, for example, whether that will be open for all airlines and for all tour operators, or just a few. What I imagine it will be a gradual, step-by-step, progression. And I imagine a limited number of airlines and limited number of tour operators at first, and limited number of arrivals into Indonesia at first, and then a period of review to see whether that pilot project is working or not. And only then, after we are satisfactory with that review, then we expand it even further. This is what we're thinking about doing with Singapore and Bintan, for example, where there is only a 40-minute transit by ferry. And Bintan, Lagoy, for example, the island is very secluded and only habitated by not many residents of the island. And also most of the hotels and resorts and tourism destination, they are all already certified to be clean, healthy, safe, and environmentally friendly as well. So when the bubble will happen between Indonesia and Netherlands, it will be happening gradually and not open to all at the same time. That is our thinking at the moment, Susan. I hope that answer a bit the question.
Yes, for me, that is, I think, a good way to approach it. One of the questions here is because people are keep wondering about this corridor with Poland and Ukraine, because they ask now, when will this corridor take place? Is it April, May, June, or later? This is a question of Willem Linders from Indonesia Travel. And yeah, are these charters, for example, given priority, or this is a question they wonder. Anyone?
The Polish and Ukraine corridor tours take place, May. The information that I have from Rainbow Tours and from Pacific Holiday Tours, from Poland, the charter flight will be on July until October 2021, with the target of 250 pax per week. I think, yeah, but still, it is depend on the border, when the border will be open, and the Ukraine itself. Yeah, to be frank, the program from charter flight program from Ukraine already informed to us since December 2020, but yeah, the ministry and another institution like immigrations are ready to give support for the issuing the visa, especially for the business essential. But I think there is another difficulties, not from the ministry and from the migration, and also from I think from other elements. I don't know why the charter flight from Ukraine still not implemented. And so the time, I think it for the police, I can share with you July until October, but from Ukraine, is still on process. Yeah.
I would like to give the floor to Eka, my colleague Eka. She's also a Vito. I'm called a Vito. She's also called a Vito. She's based in France. She would like to take this opportunity to ask a question too. Eka.
Thank you well, Susan. Thank you for everyone. Thank you, Pak Iman, Pak Sade, and also Pak Majid from Dijen, and everyone in Netherlands and everywhere. I'm like Susan, but actually I'm in charge for France. Actually, I would like just to jump up and to add more about what we are going to talk now, because more or less the European market is same. Having the same seasons for the coming to Indonesia. As you know that most Europeans, they traveling in summer, mostly to Indonesia, but actually starting April, we do have already some people stand by to go to Indonesia. I'm very happy to hear that Pak Iman just say that if every country can say how many people want to come to Indonesia, then maybe we can try to give it to the Indonesian government, Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Immigration, Ministries of whatever, to tell that the demand is there. I think it's also, there is no use to open the border if there is no one to come, right? But the thing is that from France, I can confirm that we do have already maybe quite some of a good amount of people to come. We have a project of French supermarket to send 1,000 people in summer is operations from one company. Plus some other tour operators are coming to see me, contacting me, Eka, when Indonesia will be open. They are ready to respect and the protocol sanitary or the visa or whatever, the condition, the thing that we just need to inform them before. I think I agree with Susan. If we are depend on that vaccinations to make people to come to Indonesia and those has to be vaccinated, it will be impossible, because in Europe the vaccination strategy and the policy is not the same like in Asia. In Europe they are more prioritized for the elderly people, okay, and then the younger people and have to wait, and not the elderly people who would like to traveling. Actually, they are more like people from 20s to 50s, but not 70s up. They are not traveling further. So we are ready, I think, all the Vito to give the numbers. And actually 2 weeks ago, Indonesian Embassy in Paris, Aéroport de Paris, and Garuda Indonesia were having meeting to have possibility to have the charter flight from Paris to Bali, because the demand is there. The thing is that as a Vito, we have to inform Indonesia government, because our job is to keep promoting Indonesia, but also to keep the market going, coming to Indonesia. For us, it's good to, it's not only to promote telling, wow, Indonesia beautiful, but we also want to have concrete action to bring people coming to Indonesia. Even though we know that this is not going to be like before, but at least if we can do something, you know, for Indonesia, because the tourism, the people, they are suffer a lot, and we want to help. And then there are people here in Europe, they really want to travel Indonesia, and they really want to follow the procedures. And so the thing is that I think it's important to also to see how the other countries doing. Thailand is still opening, even though they have to put 14 days quarantine. They just have to, they now are trying to put the promoting, is possible traveling in Thailand. Sri Lanka just opened 2 weeks ago with the very strict things, but they are still keep going on and opening the tourism. And also other countries are still preparing to open soon to welcome the summers. Means that when the other country is trying to protect, okay, we are not to protect their country, but some other country are trying to get the people coming to travel, not so many as possible, but at least we can have this market, and it's better to have this instead of losing this. So I hope, and then we are ready to support whatever Indonesian wants to do in order to make this process of opening border to be smoothly and to respect the what you call the protocol, because at the moment it's going to be very complicated. People want to travel to Indonesia, but only the business people to come. And some people who really want to come to Indonesia, they just can buy the business visa and they come because they want to come. So in this case, better I think to tell how the tourism visa can be made correctly, and then the business visa is only for the business. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a pity for Indonesia that we will lose the potential market that we can have. That's from my, thank you very much.
Thank you, Eka. Of course, I receive a lot of messages. Of course, the demand is here, and we even have a lot of old bookings to 2020 bookings. So the demand is there, and of course, everybody is looking for a safe way and a clear way. For example, here in the Netherlands, we are asked not to travel by our government until the end of March. And this came as a surprise for many of the tour operators, and they are suffering from it as well. And of course, everybody wants to travel in a safe way. So I think that the conclusion is we don't know. No one knows yet. And I think vaccination programs and testing is the way to move forward. So I think we have come to the end of this webinar. Let me see if there are some other questions about the Floriade, etc. But we don't know these answers yet. I see here questions about NGO members in the Netherlands working on projects. Can they visit? I think you can only visit if you have a letter of invitation and you have a sort of a sponsor in Indonesia. Those questions will need a little bit more time to answer that. You can always email me about that, or one of the other speakers. We will share all the presentations with you, and I would like to thank you all for your attention and to stay with us. We still have 100 participants, and thank you for your patience, for your time, and I hope you have it. You found it an interesting afternoon. It's still afternoon here, and it's answered a lot of your questions again. Although we cannot inform you, unfortunately, with a fixed date of the reopening of Indonesia. What I can assure you is that we are all working very hard on this possible reopening date, and that we are planning with promotional programs, etc., to sell Indonesia once it's possible and safe again to do so with great enthusiasm. So thank you very much, all of you. And I hope to see you soon in real life, soon, somewhere. And thank you for your time. I would like to say a special thank you to the ambassador, His Excellency. Thank you very much for your great opening speech. It was your first meet and greet with with many Dutch industry members. Thank you very much to the 4 speakers. And I hope to see you soon in real life soon. So thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ibu Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
Pak Dubes.